I wake up and take a hot shower. Back in my room, the first thing I see is the familiar row of medication bottles lined up on top of my dresser, and it makes me depressed as usual. It's too bad that among this row of medication bottles, there's not an antidepressant. It's annoying. I thought I was okay. I thought I'd made my peace with this thing, gotten over it. But what I really did, I allowed myself to forget that I have a problem. Being here really reminds me of that reality, and trying to fight against it just hurts. Reflecting on it is only going to do so much. I've done this before for months. It seems like it's time to get over it. If I allow myself to forget that my life is definitely not going to be as long as those of others, I won't get anywhere. My life may be different from others, but it is a life in progress. That's how I'll rationalize it. I down the usual handful of pills, trying to push the sudden dreary feeling out of my head. Then I prepare to head out to class early as usual. As I step into the hallway, I notice Kenji coming around the hallway corner, stealthily making his way over to his own room with a large bag. As he sneaks past me soundlessly like a ninja hiding in plain sight, I call out to him. "Hey!" He jumps at the sound of my voice. "Oh, hey man, I didn't notice you there. I'm really tired." I think it's more like he didn't see me, but that's not the issue. "Where have you been this early? Shopping?" "Nah, I wasn't shopping. Sometimes I have to visit the math teacher. Yeah, I figured it'd be a good idea to find out when the next exam is, since he tells you in advance if you won't." "So then, what's in the bag?" "I thought I'd go shopping while I was outside. I need supplies to continue the fight against the vast feminist conspiracy. I need things to put in my butt, like dilders and butt plugs. That's not, it's not me saying butt, how do I go back? That's not me saying a line, saying butt weird. That's a butt plug. Is Bert from Sesame Street as a butt plug? Okay. I thought you didn't go outside." "I wear a hat now." I decide not to point out that he's not wearing a hat. That wig doesn't look very good on him. An awkward silence settles between us, and then Kenji breaks it by pushing his door open slowly, releasing a creaking sound into the air that only makes the moment seem more awkward. He sets the bag down inside his room and then closes the door. "I'm surprised you went out of your way to find a test date. Trying to take advantage of an opportunity to study is pretty diligent." "I never study." "Oh. I just wanted to know when the next test day was. I'm still going to take it, duh. I need to know what day it was, to know what day I can't afford to skip class. He usually sends out updates on that crap by phone, so I had to step out and check up on it." "And why do you have to go out when you can just get it on your phone?" "I don't carry a phone." "What do you mean you don't carry a phone? You mean you just leave it at home?" "Nah, I don't use phones. I don't have a phone. I have no phone." That was a bit of a social divide between me and the other kids of my high school, because that was when my family was very, very poor, and they could and would not get me a phone or a plan for a phone. So I was just without, and everyone would be playing with their phones, and I have no choice but to play with my own little dingus. "Why don't you have a phone? How can you not have a phone? No phone at all? No phone? Bro, how do you live? You don't have a phone? You don't have Facebook? What the fuck?" That's me dating myself. What is now called that horrible thing only boomers use. Used to be Facebook. I just don't like phones. Actually, I'm kind of scared of them. I don't know why. I think it's some kind of repressed trauma. My mother dropped a phone on my head as a baby. But basically, when I hear a phone, I get nervous. It's my darkest secret. Boy, Kenji, grown up into our current year, must be having a bad time. I have two theories on it. Either I have some fear of receiving some undefined, ominous, life-altering doom call, or I was beaten with a phone in the past. Beaten so badly I can't remember it. Beaten in the head. Well, where else would I get beaten with a phone that would make me unable to remember it? The ass? Unexpectedly logical. I feel very depressed now, knowing that he never got beaten in the ass. Sensing this conversation is more or less over, Kenji opens his door again and prepares to head inside. His head just pops off, goes through the door, closes his body out. Yeah, I'm going to sleep, dude. Have a good one. Class is going to start in like 20 minutes. I already did something today. Too tired to go to school. Boy, I know the feeling. Hey, do you need some lip balm? Applies lip balm to his lips, kisses Hazao on the lips. I accidentally bought 2 because I thought the store had started selling individual AA batteries. Thanks, but no thanks. Whatever, man. He swiftly enters his lair, finally letting me go to the class. For a change, I'm not among the first ones. My brain stopped thinking of Among Us edits. I'm not doing that. We did it once. It was good. It's over. If you haven't seen the Fatal Frame playthrough, go watch that 10 times. First ones come to morning class. Instead, almost everyone seems to be here already. I recognize most of my class by their faces by now, though their names escape me still. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I've even stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days, I was pretty high-strung in class. I could never take notes good in class because I have mole vision and never got glasses because I thought glasses are stupid. Nowadays, I'd rather spend that money on video games. So I would either move to the front if I wanted to take notes or just not take notes and do whatever the hell I wanted because I'm such a cool lone wolf like that. Muto finishes his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival is on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday. Please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds. Games and fried food! Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant was more of the remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Muto deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in the school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down for the cafeteria. Hazao! I'm going to make you a one-time only, super extra special lunch offer. Amy's homemade lunch boxes, and the privilege of enjoying them in private with 2 bombshell beauties. Homemade lunch boxes? Am I just going to eat some like cardboard or metal or... Her overly flirtatious sales pitch echoes in the hallway, a remarkable feat since it's full of people. Deafens they all grasp their ears, fall to their knees in terror. Amy strikes a very confident-looking pose, as though as an attempt to one-up her own ridiculousness, puffing her very modest chest, making the V for victory sign with her hand. Sounds delicious. To what do I owe this honor of being invited? You stood there looking really lost and sad, so I thought you could use some company. Boy, I wish a girl would notice that about me. That's probably the most depressing reason imaginable, but I'll take what I can get. I'm a huge loser. So, how about it? You're probably really lonely, and would eat the awful cafeteria food all alone otherwise. I can see that you're a complete fucking loser. I'm kidding about the first thing, not the thing that you're a loser. Sure, I'll have your lunch offer, with pleasure. Let's go to the roof. I'll throw you off. The roof? Yeah, I'm from Saudi Arabia. Why the roof? Because that's where we eat lunch. Is that joke too dark for this show? Probably not, right? This show. If I don't get up there, then she'll probably wander off. And then I just know she'll go hungry because she never packs a lunch for herself. Who will? Come with me! Without answering my question or waiting for a response, she grabs me by the arm and drags me through the hallways. I attempt to make conversation on the way. Why do you have an extra lunch? Amy smiles guiltily. Actually, it's yesterday's lunch. I slipped in a run at lunch and forgot to eat. Huh. The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. How do you tell that it's been used recently? Like there's footprints from the wear of feet? I wonder who's the intrepid individual that removed the lock. They must have been a master of unlocking. Emi shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emi flinches back, almost falling down the stairs. She looks like something I would hallucinate when I sleep with the lights off. Then I'd get scared, hop up in bed, my heart would be pounding, and I'd have to sleep the rest of the night with the light on. Eek! Hello. Yipes, you scared me, Ren. Wait, isn't she? Hello. Noticing that Ren is speaking to me, Emi looks curiously at me. You two know each other? I look confusedly at Emi. She's that friend of yours? Ren has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school. She's probably trying to make them become squares. I didn't know you know this person, Emi. The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds until Emi lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off. I invited Hazao for lunch. If you know him, that's just better. Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch? Neither? I have food for 3? Nice thinking. They walk to the other end of the roof, while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else but us here. I guess the roof's not as popular as is in other schools. We did not have go up on roof at any point in my schools. The closest we had was when janitor goes onto roof and throws all the balls down to shower upon the kids, pelt them on the top of the heads at terminal velocity. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the roof look less desolate. Yeah, I can see that. Small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and in groups around the quadrangle and at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow, when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depended on it, or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights or traffic jams. I wonder if anyone is standing at the bus stop and the bus just fucking doesn't stop and passes them by, and when they run for it, it also doesn't stop. Sometimes bus drivers can be assholes. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only 1 short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly, I haven't had time to think about how I feel about it. Yeah, you totally never mentioned that like 50,000 trillion times that you do not like. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to just a few weeks ago. Emi settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces 1 big and 2 small lunch boxes from her bag. Come on, Hazao. What are you waiting for? She's beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I seat myself on the corner of the bench, take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all 3 of us fit on it. I do have a remarkably small ass. Impressive view. Sex joke, looking at titties. Emi suppresses a giggle and places the lunchbox in front of Rin. hands another lunchbox to me. Here you go, lunch is promised. Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good. Unlike you. Thanks, I make them myself when I can. Conversation dies off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox, popping a forkful of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place that I'm in right now. Will I ever get used to sights such as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Why would it be bad, Hazel? Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? One normal person can't look at someone eat with their feet? Are you telling me what I do in my spare time isn't normal? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I sometimes worry that my reading or joke telling in this playthrough and maybe others is too fast and frantic, that I just rush through it too fast. First off, if it is, you should let me know in the comments, but it reminds me of is the one time in elementary school, every now and then it would like go from class to class, because I went to Catholic school, who would have to read the morning prayer on the announcement PA system, whatever you call it, intercom maybe. And when it was my turn, for the only time I ever did it in grade 2, I practiced the absolute shit out of that prayer, and then I thought I was like totally not nervous at all. In my kid brain, I was very self-aware and smart because I've always been a cool lone wolf type character. And then when I got up to the microphone and read it, I thought I did it like perfectly and everyone was gonna cheer and congratulate me when I went back to class. And then I did, and I sat back beside my friend, and he was like, wow, you read that really, really fast. It was kind of hard to even understand you. And then I punched him in the face for saying ill of me. But that's that story completed. Let's get back to the story of this game. Does it just mean that did I read that, or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emi tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. Wow, I should insult this girl's ancestors sometime, then present my bungus. You seem pretty hungry. Emi looks up, mouth half full of ass, and swallows before nodding. My morning run always works up an appetite. Which is great, because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure. What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man? I nearly choke on my lunch, trying not to laugh. It's a figure of speech. Does your figure have to run in the mornings, too? Do you always talk like this? Talk like what? Like what? I think that answers my question. Never mind? So, I struggle to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rin seems content to let Emi answer this question. Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another. Complement each other? Like shoes in a suit. Huh? Emi giggles at my confusion. Put us together and we've got all our limbs, get it? Oh, you two don't have limbs? I didn't notice. It's just something that I wouldn't normally see, you know, I'm so tolerable. And fun fact, I've probably mentioned this before, but I most likely have in this playthrough because it's always relevant, is discourse of colorblindness. When you say that I don't see race, that is you're lying. And in sociology, I think it was a class I took, that is scientifically a lie that is called discourse of colorblindness, because you obviously see people's races and such, and even if you just choose to ignore them, that they still experience all the funs of life of being a certain race. But I'm probably repeating myself, so let's just get back to it. So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. Sounds hot. I mean, You can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along. Sure you can. I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject. I have trouble with shirts. Right, that seems fairly obvious. Really? Kind of. This isn't helping, but at least Amy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better, and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms. Oh, really? I didn't notice. Thanks for reminding me. So, putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Cut to credits, game's over, Hazao never talked again. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner. Perhaps mint or basil. I see. The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Amy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise. Ah, that was good. As she busies herself with cleaning up her lunch, Rin speaks up. I'm thirsty. My brain. I hang out with too many degenerates. The sex joke in the brain there was Rin says, I'm thirsty, Amy unbuttoned shirt. Figure out the rest for yourself. I need a new fucking head. These sex jokes have gotten more staler than Amy's gross breast milk. Oh, I almost forgot about that, sorry. With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice. That's gross. I don't like too sour. One to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk. I've actually never had strawberry milk in my life, complete with pink color scheme. I've never had it in pink or any other color scheme. And keeps equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of the box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow, I don't think Amy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure. So, Hazao, how do you like it up here? It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Amy grins a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response, I should suppose. No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time, too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here. No lunch service? I don't know. Amy looks mock offended. Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve. She giggles. Well, if that's your answer, I guess Rin and I will just have to keep eating lunch all alone. I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heartrending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Amy pouts. Why would she want this loser to eat with her? Kidding, I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location, and the company's okay too. Amy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but she seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. Rin, you didn't finish your lunch again. I wasn't that hungry. If you don't eat more, you're going to fade away. Rin shrugs, as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together.